Senator
The Kenya Kwanza Agreement agency in order to secure a tender for supply of mosquito nets to Crystal Limited, a company purportedly associated with him. Now, upon reviewing the documentation provided, I have noted that 17 companies submitted bids for this tender, yet it was ultimately not awarded to any of them. Given these findings, may I inquire from you whether it would be correct to assert that this particular ground lacks sufficient substantiation, considering that no award was made in respect to the tender in question? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chimera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Three quick issues to the witness. I wish to refer the witness to page 17 of his own document. I know he is a very investigator, speaker, but the document of the 17 letter 16 July 2014, as table here, is so naked and so casual, and it's probably coming from the police control and not as well. There is no letterhead as to confirm the message of this document, the speaker. I don't know how the witness intends to allow the Senate to authenticate this document. Secondly, the speaker is on his allegation of the conflict of interest on the part of the DP in the palace system is concerned. Is it your contention that the mere fact Crystal Kenya Limited is the local agent of one of the bidders in this tender, and that will suffice to be conflict of interest enough on the part of the DP, because the owner of that company assigns to the DP? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, the witness has been cross-examined by my learned colleague, counsel for the DP, largely on contents of the Senate Standing Committee on Health report, as opposed to his own documents. Is it, you wanted to go on record that you want to rely on that report as your evidence in chief, or should the Senate rely on your documents as tabled under volume 8A of your documents?
Senator Shakira.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to Mr. Abdi. How many more charges against the deputy are before the EACC apart from the cancer? Thank you.
Senator Farrell.
Mr. Speaker, just a quick question to Abdi of EACC. This issue of the big one, Mr. Speaker, listening to the former acting CEO, there's something curious about it which I want Abdi to either confirm or help us understand. But there was something peculiar. You know, Mr. Speaker, when you hear about pagination, if you know anything about tenders, you know for a fact that if there's an issue on pagination, either it is not just an issue of forgetting to page or number the pages, Mr. Speaker, but that document may either have been added later on after the tendering process was concluded, or, Mr. Speaker, was defective. What was the real issue, according to the investigation, with regards to the big one that was submitted by this specific company? Secondly, Mr. Speaker, what in his assessment would he say is the reading of the donor community when you have such important programs interfere with, aside that the donor communities themselves end up cancelling such important programs? And what are they recommending? Finally, Mr. Speaker, is to advocate Edward Giro. He asked the witness earlier which of the reports would he, that this House believes, that of the Senate or of the EACC. I wish to pose the same question to him. Thank you.
Asante sana Mr. Speaker. Swali langu litaenda kwa Bwana Abdi, kwa sababu anayehukumiwa hapa ni naibu wa rais. Tungetaka kujua
ngapi ama kuna kesi yote ambayo EACC ingepeleka mahakamani ili naibu wa rais aweze kuhukumiwa? Jambo la pili, wakati kulikuwa naibu wa rais alikuwa anachunguzwa katika bunge la kitaifa, kuna ushahidi wote ambao wewe uliwasilisha katika bunge la kitaifa? Na kama hukuwasilisha, kwa nini umeamua kuwasilisha jumba la seneti na sio bunge la kitaifa? Na ya mwisho, katika zabuni ambayo ilikuwa ni viandarua vya Mungu ambayo naibu wa rais anasemekana alimsika nayo, tungetaka tujue ya kwamba kwa sababu ile zabuni ilikuwa imekaidiwa na KEMSA, na kwa hivyo dhamana ya zabuni ambayo ni bond kwa kimombo ilikuwa inafaa kurudishwa, tungetaka tujue kama hiyo dhamana ya zabuni ilirudishwa ama ilitishwa, ingekuwa inasaidia naibu wa rais na nini, ama kungekuwa na manufaa gani ya kurudisha dhamana ya zabuni kama ulivyorudisha zingine 17? Hiyo ndio tungetaka kujua. Sasa Mr. Speaker.
Yes, on this issue of the illegal procurement of malaria nets, you have given us documents that basically point to some recommendations for administrative action to be taken against a number of officers. But you know, what's of our concern today is that companies associated with the EPA. Can you tell us anything that you found irregular around the subject, the matter that concerns us, this communities and the companies associated with the GP president? Few things here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are lucky that the EACC here with us. And there are serious allegations raised that require investigations. Could the CEO, Deputy, confirm if indeed there are investigations taking place on your own motion on the following issues? One, on the activities of this intricate web of companies by the Deputy President. On the issue of his inheritance of the orphans and wife of his late brother, His Excellency Davido Ashagwa. 3, on the alleged insubordination of the President. And finally, if there are investigations on the role that His Excellency the Deputy President played in the infamous Gen Z uprising the local youth. Thank you.
Senator
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very few questions. Like our military marksman. One, I give clarification on Section 14 to cultural gifts. Especially some of us when we respect you, we give you cards. Does it qualify? We need the meaning of Section 14. Number 2, I've seen administration action against council officials and ministry officials and KEMSA. Since you recommended administrative action, have you gotten feedback from KEMSA? And number 2, did you recommend any action against companies? And finally, are there any active investigations by EACC against the person of Rigathi or against the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya? I think it's the Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is to the Council for the National Assembly. You have presented before this House 2 witnesses, Mr. Abdi and the previous one, Dr. Mulo. Dr. Mulo before this House stated that there was no loss in regards to this procurement process. Mr. Abdi's report indicates very clearly that there was no loss of public funds. Would you tell this House, between your two witnesses, who is telling the truth, who is not telling us the truth? Secondly, EACC, as far as Crystal Limited is concerned, have you established any evidence that shows that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya benefits directly or indirectly from this particular company? And lastly, my colleague asked about the former CEO, Ramadan. You had recommended action to be taken. In your report also, you indicate that she violated Article 10. Does it end there, Mr. Abdi? Because she's now working in a different capacity. What action are you supposed to take, or do you intend to take? Do you do recommendations and not adhere to them? What's the conclusion as far as this kind of reports are concerned from your office? Mr. Speaker, I ask this because Kenyans sometimes say that the Senate does not do oversight. We do not really take action. But we recommend, and this is now the situation that we find ourselves in, that your recommendations that